Reflect 5, Unit 3, Reduced Adjective Clauses. By the end of this unit, you will be able to identify adjective clauses and reduce sentences that have adjective clauses in them. First, let's look at some important definitions. We have the word adjective, which is a word that describes a noun. The examples here are from your course book: medical, straightforward, and soft. Then we have a dependent clause, which is a group of words that cannot stand alone as a sentence. For example, because it was clean. As we can see, this is not a complete sentence, but it can be part of a sentence. And 3, the word or phrase to reduce, which just means to make something simpler or shorter. What is an adjective clause? By definition, an adjective clause is a dependent clause that describes a noun, and it contains a relative pronoun, such as who, which, that, or whose. For example, watch the lecture that explains how soap is made. In this sentence, the clause that explains how soap is made describes the lecture. So, this is our adjective clause. Now, how do we reduce adjective clauses? And what does it mean to reduce an adjective clause? So it basically means to make a sentence shorter by shortening the adjective clause. So look at the example here. Watch the lecture that explains how soap is made. And again, the reduced clause would be watch the lecture explaining how soap is made. How do we reduce them? Well, first we have to decide or see if the verb is active or passive. So here we have an active voice example. So first, we have to identify the adjective clause. And how do we do this? We look at the relative pronouns and the words that come after it. Now, to reduce the adjective clause, we're going to remove the relative pronoun and change the verb to the ing form. So as you can see here, watch the lecture that explains how to make soap. We are removing the relative pronoun and converting this verb to an ing verb. Watch the lecture explaining how to make soap. Now, what if the verb is in its passive voice? Here, the ing form cannot be used, but we are still taking out the relative pronoun and the verb be. So as you can see here, movies that are sold digitally are cheaper to buy. It becomes remove the pronoun, remove the verb be, and you keep this verb as it is in the participle form. Movies sold digitally are cheaper to buy. Let's look at another example. TV advertisements that are made in the studio take longer to make. So, again, I am removing the relative pronoun and I'm removing the verb be. TV advertisements made in the studio take longer to make.